Shalom, shalom. Thank you, Mauricio. You know, your message is excellent. It really made me think because, you know, when we think of free will, we think we have full free will to choose anything we want. And yet it's funny because I was remembering back as I was reading this, you took an extreme case where you said, if somebody put a gun in my hand, could I shoot my own son? I would rather die. As a parent, we'd rather die ourselves than to kill our own children. So there's only so far that we can go, especially as you said, with our upbringing, the things we've been taught, knowing God. But I remember long before I thought I knew God, that I could go to a certain point in my behavior and then I couldn't go anymore. That there's something innate, something within me that just stopped me from going that extra step. And I think we've all faced that in our lives. That was really an excellent message. You wrote, we are incapable of acting voluntarily. And that really made me think you're taking it to the next level. That was beautiful, Mauricio. Thank you.
Yeah, regarding about that, only just to put it, um, when you raise up your kids, okay, properly, and you give them love, okay, and you show them how to behave in the society, then you will be ensure how your kids will be, okay, in the future when you are not here longer. And, and so I can tell you right now, I'm sure that, for example, Pablo is at university. He sees a computer, okay? So I'm sure that he won't be able, he cannot steal that computer.
Right.
He will go to the office and give the computer, okay? I'm a father, I'm saying that he won't do that. And it's not a commandment. Look, it's not really an order that I told him, Pablo, do not take that computer. That's another level, okay? But I know that his nature won't let his conscience, okay, in peace to take something that is not of him, okay? So in this case, when the Torah is saying you won't be capable to do this or won't be able to do this, I don't know. It's because God knows his children, how he raised us, okay? So he's pretty sure that we we will not be able to do that. For example, we can read in this portion, you shall not marry with your father's wife, for example. Okay, if I said, oh, I am a believer of uh, of God, okay, if I am, so then I won't be able to do that. And I put you yesterday an example that there was a king in Greece, okay? He married to his mother in order to kill his father, supposedly to fulfill a prophecy, and then to say to everybody, hey, look, I fulfilled the prophecy, now I am the king, okay? Uh, but that man could do that, okay? He was not in the Israelite. But God will be very sure that if you are a real Israelite, okay, I mean, from God, okay, so then you won't be capable to marry with your mother, okay? So it's not about free will, really. Okay, it's something inside of you that you cannot do. For example, I'm pretty sure that everybody here in this community cannot take a gun and kill a dog. Okay,
Right.
just because for fun. Okay,
No, not for fun. Exactly.
no,
If it was attacking
that's
my child, I would.
yeah,
Yeah.
but just for fun, you know.
No.
And I tell you, I had when I used to work in Honduras, there was a guy who loved to run in his vehicle very fast. I remember I just only once go into his car because he loved to kill dogs on
Oh,
the road. He
wow.
looked to hit them, okay?
Mm,
And that was for fun for him.
wow.
And there was something in my head, in my heart, that I told him, hey, stop doing that. Okay. I don't like it. Or just leave me here. Okay. But I won't be part of that. So it was something that I cannot do. Tell you, if I drive right now, I won't do that. Okay. I'm not capable to do that.
Well,
Okay.
you're giving examples of extreme
Yeah.
examples. But I remember before I knew God, I mean, we were raised in a family with good morals. We learned about the
Yeah.
Bible in school. But I was in a marriage where and I don't want to, he just was very cheap with me. He just didn't provide anything to me. And I wasn't strong enough to ask. I was very, I don't know if it was shy, but I didn't feel like I had value. And I remember I went to a ski school. I was going to a ski school and to learn how to ski. And I had bought a sweater, but the sweater, there was a hat and I couldn't afford the hat. I saved money doing little things and I wanted the hat. And then when I went back to the store, I stole the hat because I was afraid to ask my money, but I wanted it so badly. The next day, I could not stand myself. I had to I went and I put the hat back. It was something in me that would not allow me to do it. So I see. Well, I mean, we do get tempted and we do wrong things, but you're not talking about that, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you saying about that? Because I did it.
Yeah, you did it. But it's the very same idea. You could not bear that sin.
And it was
Okay.
before I knew God.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But it was in your nature, inside of you. Okay.
So what makes me different if we're all children of God, every human being, every created being on this earth, what makes us different than that man who took his car and went to look for dogs, or Hamas who's murdering and mutilating, and what makes us different? What makes our soul different?
For me, it's very easy because um, we all are God's children, even though Hitler was God's children.
Right.
Okay. Okay. But no one, not all people behave with honor to be God's children. Okay. So we can say, okay, yeah, I'm, for example, I'm Charles Mason, okay, or Manson, I can remember, the
Charles
one
Manson.
who killed many persons in the United States. Okay.
Right.
So he, yes, he is by creation. Okay. By creation, he's a son of God. God, even in that bad person, he put his spark, okay, inside of him. But the problem is that person decided to to use his free will not to come close to God, to have a relationship with God, so he can recognize him as his father. Okay. He decided to live apart from him. So instead to absorb, I would say, his light, okay, the energy of life, okay, he started to decide to move apart. And so everything that is not God start to control him. Okay. Yes, he execute his free will, but as I cannot kill a person just for funny, okay, that person can kill a person just for funny. Okay.
For fun.
Yeah, that's for fun. Yeah. So I mean it is in this portion especially, God is talking to whom? To Israel.
Right.
So he's saying, Israel, okay, look, that is very important, the context. Israel, you will not able to to take a prisoner, a woman prisoner, and rape her and abuse her and torture her and etc etc etc,
Right.
because you are Israel. In your nature, you are called to be light. And that is something that I connect with Isaiah, because in Isaiah, God says, to whom who is the servant of God? Israel. Okay. So he's talking to Israel in Isaiah 54. And he's saying, Israel, okay, uh, you are not, you are barren, okay, or you are called barren, okay. In this word, akara, is also found in Sarai, okay, is also found in Hannah, is also found in the wife of Manoah, okay.
Rachel.
So yes, they were barren, but they the point is apparently barren, I would say, because at
Right.
the end, God grant them to be mothers. Okay,
Right.
so this is like to say in Israel, hey, Israel, you are not barren. You have to bear fruit. You are. I formed you to be light. It says it's very clear. I formed you to be light. Okay, so in to be light is to help other people in the world to stand up and to say, oh, we are the covenants, uh, God's people. Okay. And then he says, okay, because I know you are like Israel, okay, so you shall not be allowed, okay, to do and to behave like this and like this, like this. For
Or
example,
there are consequences.
or their consequences,
Yeah.
okay. But the point is that the question is, if I'm able, for example, to marry with my mother,
Right.
so I'm pretty sure I'm not Israel,
Right.
even though I'm Jewish,
Right.
okay?
Right. Right.
Because in Israel, the nature, God is saying you will not be able to do that.
Exactly. And yet,
So
when we
yeah,
do these things, you said, like you quoted Philippians, God uses all things for good. In the end,
yeah,
he will turn it all around for our good. Even a thing like Hitler, which we don't like to think about, but
yeah,
what the good came out of it. If that hadn't happened, we would not have the state of Israel today.
Yeah, and you know, so why Hamas can do that
Yeah. Why did God allow
is
that?
because they are not Israel. That's why.
Yeah.
Easy. So in you know, this is something because the all the of Tetze is about certain moments in our life that we can live under a certain pressure. Okay. And the question is, how will you behave? Okay, as Israel or as somebody else?
Right.
That is for me. That is the how to summarize the whole parasha.
So
Yeah.
when you're
Richard,
saying just to
hold on.
understand,
Sorry, Miriam.
sorry.
Richard put his hand up. I just want to,
Oh, I didn't see.
and then you're next.
It's okay.
Sorry. Go ahead, Richard, quickly. Sorry.
We will never know what would have happened if Hitler hadn't come around the way Hitler came around.
That's true.
But some scholars say that the state of Israel would have happened anyway.
Yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, because God willed it. He wanted it.
Okay. Well. Okay. Fine. So I won't argue that, but I mean, historically, empires fell at the end of the from around the time of the end of World War One, and nation states began to rise up, and nationalism began to rise up. So it was quite possible that it would have been a state of Israel anyway. All right, so if you'd like to say that God willed on the state of Israel, you have to say that God willed Hitler too. I mean, that's a hard pill to swallow.
It is, but he does say he created good and evil. And
Again, I just to say something about that.
yeah.
I really don't believe that we should take it that literally.
Mhm.
God created free will, which is allowed, which you could make horrible choices or good choices. He didn't say in the beginning, it says the creation was good. I don't believe he created evil as an entity. Like when you say that, it could be misunderstood in my view. And Hitler arose from a series of terrible, evil choices that we have made as a human race and as Israel has made. I don't think God just said, let there be Hitler, and he's going to kill 6 million Jews and 70 million people altogether. I think it's not that. I mean, that's not the way I see it. When he said he created evil, I think it's almost synonymous with the idea of free will. We have choices. We make choices.
What do you think about that, Mauricio?
Well, Isaiah is very clear. He said, I am the Lord who creates good and evil. Okay. So, but the point is what is good and what is evil. Okay. That is because sometimes something that appears to be good, it's evil. It's evil. Evil. Okay. So um the point here is, as you mentioned, I'm agree, Miriam, is that we make choices. Okay, the consequences of those choices is something good or something bad for persons. Okay, uh, for example, um, when we decide to sell the port, that's a choice. Okay, for some good because now the government doesn't have to face, I would say, with a port, which is not his final objective. Okay. But bad for some, because right now we are paying a lot of cost of the mortgage and things like that. So something good, some choice brings consequences that are good or bad, depending how affects you. Okay. So that is why we cannot say specifically everything is black and white.
Right.
Okay. So as you mentioned, Peggy, is not an institution that is called government of evil, as, for example, most of person believes. Okay.
Right.
No, it is just that, for example, in this case, Hitler decided, well, he decides for the German people, okay? And not all the Germans were agreed to
Right.
to how he behaved.
Right.
Okay.
And many who saved our people.
Yeah. So, but but the point is, he not only destroy Jewish people, he destroyed like
Gypsies.
20 million people.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Stalin, 50 million.
And Stalin another 50 million.
Yeah.
They destroy their own people because many Germans died.
Right.
So the consequences is that when you allow, for example, a person who doesn't have um, fear of God, okay, even though he said, I'm Catholic, I think uh, honestly, the consequences for the whole people really will be very bad. But evil in this case is the evil and good really are inside of us. Okay. The consequences could be bad and good. Okay. But the evil, that voice inside of me that, for example, in your case, I want that hat. Okay. I really desire that hat. I can see my face that I can shine in the streets with that shine. Okay. So you took it. Okay. What made you to took the your evil, that which where is the evil? It's not something that is outside.
No.
It's something that is inside of you. Everyone has this capacity. So you were dealing probably in for it's not that you only took it. Okay, no. Probably you went to that store one or two times before. Okay.
It's true.
So then you desire
Yeah.
and you gave to those thoughts
Yeah.
in your head to say, oh, it's so wishable that hat. Okay. So inside of you you have that inclination to evil
Right.
that made you fortress, okay, your hand
Right.
and took it. Okay.
Right.
But at the same time, because you were Israelite, okay, God said you will not be able to, because in this portion we can read, you saw something that is not yours, and you cannot say your blind eye to say, oh, I can ignore it.
Right.
You cannot ignore it. You could not ignore it.
Yeah.
The
I
fact
think.
that the hat was in your house.
Right.
So
Right.
the, what happened in you is the very same example. God already formed you, then he strained your hand just to be capable to return back that heart. Okay.
Right.
So it's very simple, because is God saying, oh, you won't be able, because I will not let you to live peacefully. Okay.
Right. Right.
So
And, and there's another example I just want
yeah.
to, because, you know, one of the things the Torah says that our people are destroyed for lack of knowledge because we don't know the Torah. And when we talk about some things that are evil, he's very specific. You shall not, like we read in Deuteronomy 18 last week, do not go after ways that are abominable to him, like horoscopes and all these new age things, the seances, all that. See, I didn't know that those things were wrong, and they were very attractive, even though they're evil. God says these things are evil. And the consequences of me doing those things were disastrous in my life, in my family, my children. So, you know, it was, I voluntarily did those things because they looked like they were right. They were leading me in the right way. So sometimes it's because we just don't know. Now you have 3 children who are going to be in university, and you don't know how. You've given them as much as you can, but there are outside influences. And hopefully you will be able to talk to them about it. Thank God you have a communication with your children. But in my case, I didn't have communication with people who could have advised me in the right way. So I did things that were evil without realizing it. We do get caught up, and there's nothing that was inside me that warned me this is wrong. It was externals getting worse and worse, giving further and further into it, that made me stand up and say something is wrong. So it's not always what's inside us. Hopefully there are people around us that will help us.
Yeah, but you know that evil, when I mean that it's not outside of us, okay? But um okay, let's see. It obviously there are temptation outside, okay? And constantly remember the 7 gates of the body:
Right.
2 eyes, 2 nose, 1 mouth, and
Yeah.
2 ears. Okay. Constantly are bombarded by those temptations.
Right.
Okay. But it's interestingly that that you know there is an exposure, I will say, for everyone. Okay. But our bad inclination, our evil inclination, focus on something that is show in the street. Okay, for example, I like sweet things. Okay,
You like
I
what?
like sugar. I like
Yes.
sugar. Okay,
And you work for
sweet
a perfect
things.
company.
Yeah, I work for a perfect company. So okay, but there are persons who really doesn't like sweet things.
Yeah.
So they can see a chocolate, and for them is
Nothing. Yeah.
yeah, because in their nature is not this desire to consume sugar.
Right.
Okay, but for example, I would say with a property that I don't like, for example, because I saw a video of Israeli, and that is showing that I cannot remember if it was in Pakistan or in Afghanistan, but they are inside a mosque, and there is a child male, okay, inside that
Mosque?
mosque, yeah, and then the man is approaching improperly to that kid, okay, smelling his neck, things like that, and that is disgusting, okay.
Right. Right.
So, but they said that was the point of that video, that is allowed for them to do that, even though they said, oh, it's forbidden homosexuality, okay.
Right.
But it seems that homosexuality to be exercised to a kid is not, is allowed, okay.
Wow.
So the point here is, I can see that, and for me, in my nature, is like the man that doesn't like sugar. For me, that is something repugnant, okay. I will say, oh no, in my mind I cannot conceive doing that, okay. So, but in the world is like showing you constantly different things, okay. You are hearing different things, you are smelling different things, you are talking different things, okay. uh the temptation is there. What makes you really, and that is good or bad, you can say that, but the point is how our inner part, okay, um, reacts to that exposure,
Mhm.
okay. Because again, the evil is inside of me, okay, and it's very easy to say, oh, it's outside. The problem is television, the problem is internet, the problem
Right.
is, I don't know,
Yeah.
because it's very easy, like Adam and Java, to say, oh, the serpent or the
Right.
woman.
Right.
It's very, no, the point is that God is telling you, like Yeshua said, from what is that, the point is not what is coming inside of your body. The
Right.
problem is what is inside of you that getting out to the world,
Right.
okay. So that is why, uh, I can tell you, is not outside. The point is, that is why the Rabbi constantly, in last Shabbat, he said, referring to this psalm, oh, search me, oh God, inside of me, because that part, the bad choices come from me. Inside,
Right.
something inside of me made me drink a beer when I should not be drink a beer, for example, okay. And so that is something that that is why, it is constantly to look inside of you, and to pray to God, help me, God.
Right.
What in say, um, there is also, that, um, many, I would say, one of the commandments, for example, that I can see is, for example, when you have more than one wife, okay, and you have different kids, and you start to talk about the loved one.
Right.
Why is talking about the loved one is like a, honestly, the Torah is criticizing to whom? To Jacob.
Right. Exactly. Look what he did to his family because of Joseph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So probably is not talking to everyone in every generation. No,
Right. Yeah.
he's referring to Jacob.
Right.
Look the example of Jacob. Do not follow. Look what happened after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So that is because at the end, who receives the firstborn right? I mean, not honestly was not the first one. Okay.
Yeah.
So in many cases, I mean, okay. For example, David, the king, he was the last one.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
King Solomon, he
Yeah.
was not the first one,
No. No. Yeah.
etc. So the point here is that that honestly, the Torah is dealing with us to control ourselves
Right.
in those situations,
Right.
to stop, to say, hey, wait, what is inside of me? Okay,
Yeah.
if I am Israel, I will not do this and that. Okay, so um, for example, the other thing, it said that you cannot, um, if there is a slave that is a fugitive,
Right.
okay, that God is saying you shall not, won't be able to
Return
return
him
to
to his master.
back
Yeah, it's
to
all
his master.
yeah, it seems the whole thing is
And,
all about compassion.
yeah,
Yeah.
and but also if you do that, for example, so what is the point? That that is not an the person is not an active, like, for example, because in this portion says, if you look an object of of somebody at the street, you have to keep it and return him back. Okay,
Right.
for example, an ox, um, things like that,
Yeah.
in or animals.
Right.
But what but when there is a person, is not the same thing. I mean, supposedly an slave is property of his master,
Right.
right? But what is God is saying in this portion? He doesn't like slavery.
Right.
Persons cannot be property of some other.
Right.
That is why he's putting a value different to the human person.
Right.
So that is why he says you cannot be able to return back that person, because it's a person, it's not an object, it's not an animal.
Right.
So you can see compassion in this. Okay, so what are the principles? And so that is interesting, but it's a great song, obviously, right? So
Yeah. Miriam, do you have anything else you want to add? I know I interrupted you or
No, no, I think it's pretty much all answered. Thank you, Mauricio, for that.
yeah.
I just wanted to comment on what you said about barren. You said it wasn't that, if I understood right, that it wasn't that you are barren, it's that you may be barren now, but it's in you not to be barren. So, in other words, there's hope. Even like when you talk about making like a metaphor, our walk with God, it could be barren. But yet it's there in us for the fruit to be born. In other words, it's really hopeful in
Very
that sense. That's nice to look at it like that. Barren isn't only about children.
right.
Or even it is with children too, that even with Sarah, she was barren, but God knew that she would bear a child.
You better
Children.
be careful, Miriam.
No, another immaculate conception.
Oh, well, yeah, it was really a wonderful message, Mauricio. Thank you so much. You always bring food for thought. You take it deeper. I love that. That's what I love about the Torah, is that it has so many levels, different levels of wisdom hidden underneath these wonderful words. And I'm so grateful that we have that. Does anybody else have anything to add before we say goodbye for this Shabbat? And yes, Richard.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I mean, technically, immaculate conception means something else than the
Sorry,
virgin
what?
birth.
Could you?
Right.
The Immaculate Conception means something
Okay,
else?
technically, yes.
It was a
It
joke that
means
okay.
that. Okay, fine. Okay, I take it
No,
back.
Richard,
Okay,
please continue. I didn't want to hear what you
Were
wanted.
you, which Immaculate, are you talking about
According to
Joseph
the
and Mary?
Catholic,
Sorry,
okay,
Richard?
so far as the Immaculate Conception, according to the Catholic Church, means that Mary was born without sin. Okay, and that's different than the virgin birth. Okay, so it's easy to look up online. Okay, okay, so I just want to say that. All right.
Are you asking what we believe about the Immaculate Conception?
No,
It's very hard to hear you. There's a lot of you keep coming in and out. Oh, what happened to him? I think he had a bad connect. Oh no, you're still here. Richard. Anyway, we are not, by the way, Richard, we're not Catholics. We don't look at the Immaculate Conception in the same way that the church does. We think that's an invention. And that's a whole other topic of conversation about Joseph and Miriam and her so-called Immaculate Conception. And that's all. I don't know why you brought that up. Was there a question in that? Okay.
I think
All
it
right.
was just in response to my joke.
Yeah, right.
Anyway.
Okay. Anyway, thank you everybody for joining us for this Shabbat. It's very exciting. Next week, I think it's what Kitavo is the Kitavo. And so we'll continue to ask God to search our hearts, to help us with in the areas that we are struggling with. And we're about to go into the in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, I think, into the high holidays of Yom Teruah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. I always look forward to our high holidays, but there always are things that it's like there's a spiritual heightened awareness right now. And we as a community are coming together before God to ask for his communal forgiveness and his protection and his love and covering for our lives. So let's continue to ask God, as Rabbi would teach us, search me, O God, know my heart, try me and know my thoughts, see if there's any way within me that is not liking to you, and lead me into your way everlasting. That's our prayer for us and our families. So thank you, Mauricio, again. God bless you. And we wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.